If we think that recent popes have had difficulties in implementing the Second Vatican Council, St. Pius V, who we remember today, had even greater problems implementing the Council of Trent more than 4 centuries ago. He was born in Italy in 1504, was baptized Anthony, and at an early age he felt a desire to become a priest, although it seemed his dream would never come true because his parents were poor. Then one day, 2 Dominicans met Anthony, and they liked him so much that they offered to educate him. So at the age of 14, Anthony joined the Dominican order and eventually became a priest, then a bishop, and later a cardinal. He always defended the teachings of the Church against those who opposed them and continued living a life of penance. When he was 61, he was chosen to be Pope. And during his papacy, he was faced with almost overwhelming responsibility of getting a shattered, scattered church back on its feet. The mystical body of Christ had been shaken by corruption, by the Protestant revolt, by the constant threat of a Muslim invasion, just to name a few. 20 years earlier, in 1545, Pope Paul III convened the Council of Trent in an attempt to deal with all of these problems. And it took over 18 years of prayer and discussion to decide upon a course of action. The council closed in 1563. So it was 3 years later that Pius V was elected in 1566 and entrusted with the task of implementing the reforms called for by the council. He ordered the founding of seminaries for the proper training of priests. He published a new missal, a new breviary, a new catechism. He established the Confraternity of Christian Doctrine, which came to be known as CCD. He zealously enforced legislation against abuses in the church and patiently served the sick and the poor by building hospitals, providing food for the hungry, and giving money customarily used for the papal banquets to poor Roman converts. His decision to keep wearing his Dominican habit led to the custom of the Pope wearing a white cassock, and in striving to reform both the church and the state, St. Pius V had many challenges to face and great opposition from both heads of state and the heads of the church. He drew strength, though, from meditating every day on the sufferings and death of Jesus, and he was accustomed to kiss the feet of a crucifix on leaving and entering his room. And one day, the feet moved away from his lips, and Sorrow filled his heart, and he made acts of contrition, fearing that he must have committed some offense. Yet he still couldn't kiss the feet. It was afterward discovered that they had been poisoned by an enemy. And as mentioned earlier, the Muslims were trying to conquer the whole Christian world and had gathered a great navy on the Mediterranean Sea. And a Christian force went to battle them at a place called Lepanto, near Greece. And from the moment the army set out, the Pope prayed the rosary, and he encouraged the people to do the same. And thanks to the help of the Blessed Mother, the outnumbered Christians won a great victory on October 7th, 1571. And in gratitude to Mary, Pius V established the feast of Our Lady of the Rosary, which we celebrate each year on October 7th. St. Pius's work for a renewal of the Church was grounded in his own personal life as a Dominican friar. He continued to spend long hours with God in prayer, fasted rigorously, deprived himself of many of the customary papal luxuries, and faithfully observed the Dominican rule and its spirit. He died in Rome on May 1st, 1572, and his feast is celebrated today, though, because tomorrow, May 1st, is the feast of St. Joseph the Worker. So, if we're tempted to complain about certain things in the church today, because, let's just not talk about it, but begin with ourselves, by following the example of St. Pius V's life of prayer and penance.